Welcome to Tech Brothers with Amir. In this video, we are going to learn how to create Azure SSIS Integration Runtime in Azure Data Factory. So first of all, why you need to create that? Let's take a look on the definition. And here we have this article provide all those details. So in the SSIS Integration Runtime, once we have that, we can run our SSIS packages in the Azure Data Factory. So we will deploy our SSIS packages to the SSIS catalog on Azure SQL database server, or we can deploy our SSIS package to the managed instance. So in both cases, your packages will be deployed to the Azure, and once they are deployed to the Azure, what's going to happen? You're going to create the Azure Data Factory pipeline and then call that the packages. So we are going to start from very scratch, so you will understand the entire process. So first of all, we need to create a Azure SQL database. So what we are going to do here, we are going to go to the SQL databases, and here I'm going to create a new SQL database. So think about a scenario where you are creating these databases. Maybe you have these databases already running on your on-premises, and then you migrated to the Azure SQL databases, and then you were using some SSIS packages on the on-premises, read the data from one source database and load to the destination database. Now, as your database has been migrated to Azure, you would like to use the same type of SSIS packages in the Azure. So it's called lift and shift. So you are not making whole lot changing to your SSIS packages. Whatever you are using on premises, as you have migrated to the Azure databases, now you can use the same type of SSIS packages without making whole lot changes in the Azure. So let's create this database here first of all, and then we will move from there. You will understand the whole concept. Here we have selected our resource group, and I'm gonna call this one DB source DB. So this is our gonna be source DB, and server, we do not have server as of now. I'm gonna go ahead and create a server, and I'm gonna call this one Tech Brothers. Let's see if we have only Tech Brothers. Okay, let's Tech Brothers IT. That's our server name, and then we are gonna provide the username, password. In the East US is all good. Okay, so our server is going to be created, and I'm going to go ahead and click on the config databases. I do not need to create this server with high CPUs and all that, so I'm going to go for basic because I want to pay only very small amount for this server. Okay, now this is all good, and I'm going to hit create and hit create again, and it's going to create our Azure SQL server that will be hosting our DB, so source DB, and then we are going to create another database called the destination DB. So we are going to do that. Is in the process of deployment. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and open a new project in SSIS. This is on my premises, on my local machine. So create a new project, and I'm going to call this project. Let's call this lift and shift. Okay, this is good. Hit okay. Now what I'm gonna do, yes, save those changes to the previous one because I was working on some demos, and right click here, and I'm gonna go to properties, and I'm gonna select the server. I'm not using SQL Server 2019, it is a SQL Server 2017. That's what the max server version you have in Azure as of now. So maybe in future you will have different, but in my case I'm going to use a SQL Server 2017 here when I'm developing my SSIS packages. Now I'm going to go back to my deployments here. It's still in working. Once it's created, we will be connecting to the SSMS and using it. Now in the SSMS, what I'm going to do, I'm going to let's do a couple of things. So I'm going to bring my SSMS here, and we will do one thing. Here our server is ready, and you can see that TechbrothersIT server is created. So I can click here and go to the right here, firewall and virtual network, and I'm gonna let allow Azure services and resources to access this server because I will be using this server in the data factory. So I'm gonna hit save, and then that's gonna be fine. Now hit OK. Now go back to the server and TechbrothersIT server, and here is our server name. So I can go to the SSMS and connect from it. So let's go to SSMS, connect database engine, and I'm going to provide my server name. So techbrothersIT.database.windows.net username and password. So it should be able to connect to our server. It is asking login, so I'm going to log in with my username. So let me log in, and now it is asking, hey, this is IP, you want to add that? Yes, I do. And now it will connect. In this case, if we go to databases, as of now we have source3b. I'm going to go ahead and create another query, and we can create another database. So we'll create a database called destination DB. So create this, and in the okay, it says destination DB already exists. Why? Because I'm connected to some other server, so I should not be connected to this server. I should be going to TechbrothersIT, hit new query. So now we are connected to the TechbrothersIT here. So create database and destination DB. Now we should be good, and it is creating our database. So meanwhile, I'm going to create a new query and create a table name. Create table DBO customer, and it's going to have ID, integer, name, worker. Okay, that's just simple data insert into DBO customer, and now values 1 Amir. So that's it. Now we are going to have only one record. Now we don't have to say go here, and this has created our table in our source database. So DBO customer. Now we select the data, and it has only one record. I'm going to create the same table in our destination database. So refresh the databases, and if this database has been created as well, so a new query and paste it there. So I created a customer table, or we can rename it whatever we want. It's our choice. So let's let it connect. And maybe here we call it DEST underscore customer, just so you understand we are in different databases and different tables are being used. So this table does not have any data as of now, and in the source database table we have only one record. So you see right there, there is no data. So first of all, I'm going to create my SSIS package that can read the data from my source database and write to the destination. As of now, we have not deployed this package anywhere. So this is my SSIS package, and here I'm going to go to the data flow task. Data flow. So in the data flow, we need a source, right? And you guys know that OLEDB source will work just fine. OLEDB source. In the destination, I need OLEDB destination. So I'm going to bring it here. In the OLEDB source, I'm going to go hit new, and then I'm going to create a new database connection, and here I will be providing my server name. So I'm going to copy server name, go back to the right here, and now I will say source DB. So test connection, our Windows SQL authentication TB user, and then we should be good. Okay, our test is completed, and now we are hitting OK, and then we can write a query, or we can select directly from the customer table. Now this this has two tables. There is one row. Just connect to this guy, and here we are going to go to properties. Go to rename, and I'm going to call this one source. Okay. So in the destination, what we have to do, we can go and create a new connection. Why? Because our destination database is different. So I'm going to paste it here, source TB user, and then we are providing our username. Here is our destination database. So make a connection there, hit OK. Now we hit OK, and select a table. It's a destination underscore customer. So do the mapping. It's the same name, so all good. Now here you can see that our package is ready, and I'm calling this one package 1. Well, let's call this one rename pkg underscore customer. So it loads the customer table. So we execute the package, and we are all good here. Now our package is created, it is working fine, and it is reading data from one Azure database and writing to another Azure database table. So one row is inserted, we go back to the SSMS, select the data, and it is there. So we can see that one record is inserted. Now what we need to do, this package I can schedule here on my local machine if I have some local machine, and then I can keep running this package from the local. But then I have to pay for my licensing in SSIS to DB and the SQL Server and all those on the premises. So what I would like to do, I would like to use the same Azure SQL database and deploy my package there. As of now, you see that there is no SSIS DB here. We have a integration services runtime catalog here as we created the Azure server and added a couple of databases. What we are going to do, we are going to create a SSIS IR and configure it to use this server. Once we do that, it is going to create then SSIS DB here. So we will be able to save our packages in this database SSIS DB. So let's go back to our data factory here. I'm going to go to the, let's I'm at ADF test, so that's my data factory, and inside the data factory I'm going to open it. Now I need to create the SSIS IR, so people call it Azure SSIS IR and all that. So you're going to go to manage, here you're going to go to integration runtime, and here you will click a new. Now see, we have three options here. We have Azure, self-hosted, and Azure SSIS. So I have already done demos on a self-hosted, how to get the data from the on the premises to the cloud, or from cloud to the on premises by using self-hosted. You can watch that video. Here we are doing Azure SSIS, lift and shift existing SSIS package to execute in Azure. So you guys see that I have created the package that's on my local. So this might be working on the premises. I had scheduled it before, but now I want to lift and shift. I want to bring it to the Azure. That's what we are going to do. That's why we are interested to create a Azure SSIS. So I selected that one, hit next, and now it is asking me given the name. So I'm going to call it lift shift IR. Okay, so now it is asking in which region and the node size. Okay, so this VM is going to be being created. I'm going to give a very small amount because I don't want to pay a lot of money for this one. So I selected the minimum configuration here, and then selected the node numbers. So you see that I have only one node. So that's going to be used to run these packages, right? So hit the next, and what we are going to do here, now it is asking you create SSIS catalog SSDB hosted by Azure SQL Server database / manage instance to store your project packages, environments, execution logs, etc. Yes, that's what I would like to do. So what I'm going to do, I don't have manage instance, I have Azure SQL database. So we have created that one first, right? Now what we are going to do here, we are going to select subscription ECUS. Yes, that's my catalog name, that's my server name, it already selected. So now we are all good. I don't have to do all this authentication because I'm going to use with the SQL authentication. So but in case you have AAD authentication and all that, you can use from here. Okay, TB user, and then I'm going to provide my password. It's all good. Hit next, and now we don't have to do anything here as well. So if you want to do more customization and all those kind of things, you can have all the options here. Use this VNets with SSIS, IR, and all that you have right here. And if you even you want to use self-hosted integration runtime as proxy for your Azure SSIS, you can do that as well. So there are tons of features, but we are going to keep that simple. Okay, so keep that, and now we are going to hit create. What's going to happen is I said successfully saved. Now it's starting, so it's going to take like 15 minutes probably to create our SSIS DB in our database. So right here, as of now, you can see that we do not have any SSIS DB here. We do not have anything under the integration services catalog here. So once this whole configuration will be completed, is Azure SSIS will be running. What's going to happen? Meanwhile, it is going to configure all that, and there would be a database SSIS DB will be available for us to work, and then you will see a catalog here as well. So let's wait for a few minutes while this will get deployed. All right, our lift and shift SSIS IR, you can see right there is running, and it did not take, actually in this case it did not took 15 minutes, it got completed in like 3 minutes. So it depends upon different scenarios, but I have seen like these guys does take some time. So now this is all good, and what we are going to do here, Now we need to go to the our SSMS, and I'm gonna go ahead and refresh, and I should see SSIS DB right there. So you see right there. So SSIS DB is created, all those system tables and everything is created, and we are all good here. Next part, we are gonna refresh this integration runtime, integration services catalog, and under that we are gonna see some errors happening. So refresh, and now let's click there and see it's in a reference to database server name SSHDB, and the property is not supported in this version of SQL Server. That's, I believe, happened because we have to disconnect and reconnect. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect and go reconnect again, and then let's try again. So what happened? Now we are connected to this Azure SQL databases, and here is our SSIS, here is our integration services catalog. So now SSIS DB, and now we do not have anything under that. Remember that we have created the package in our Visual Studio, and now what we can do, we can deploy that. Go to the lift and shift project and say deploy, and in the deploy we are gonna hit next. Now what we need to do, we need to deploy to the Azure database SSIS DB, right? So what I need I need a name of the server. Here I'm gonna go back to the my server here. So that's my server name. So SQL Server Azure server name, copy. Now go back here and bring the SSMS. Sorry, I'm all over going through it, like I need to be on the Visual Studio. So we are gonna say SSIS in the SQL Server. That's what we need to do. We are not gonna do this one. We are gonna do first one because we know our server name. So we're gonna provide the server name here, and then authentication, and we will say TB user, provide the password, and now we are gonna hit connect, and we are connected. It is asking where you would like to deploy your package. So I'm going to browse to it, and once you browse to it, is asking you to create a new folder. I'm going to say SSIS packages. So that's where we are creating a folder, and now I'm going to deploy my package there. So hit next, hit deploy, and it should be deployed there. Okay, deployment is successful, and we are all good. Hit close. Now what we are going to do, we are going to go to the SSMS and refresh. In the SSIS DB there should be a plus sign now. SSIS packages, that's a folder we created, and now we have projects under it. In the project we can see that a lift and shift, and then we have packages, and under the project we have a pkg underscore customer. If you guys remember that this table has one record, so I'm gonna go ahead and delete it, and so I can say truncate table execute, sorry, always take something different. Okay, execute. Now this table does not have any record, and our source table has some record. So I'm gonna add one more record here. Maybe I will do 2, and then I will do Raza. So now if I will insert the data here, there will be 3 records. There is already one Amir, and then now we are inserting 2 Amirs here and 1 Raza here. So three records. Now you see that in this Azure SQL database name, server name, we do not have any agent or anything like, so we don't really have a way to schedule this package. But we can run this package. We are going to right click here and say execute, and it's going to execute this package. So it will read the data from our source DB that's on Azure, and it will write the data to our destination DB that's also on the Azure. So it's, in our case, it's on the same server, but you can have different servers and all those kind of things. Now what we are doing here, we are gonna go right here and say execute package. So yes, show me report. Now it's going there. Okay, so it's in a reference to database or service is not supported. It's just an error. It's all right. So we can just leave that as it is, and we'll see if it is completed. So hit select from here. Now there should be some data. So you can see that data has been loaded. We can right click here and say on the projects, and say reports, and standard reports, all execution, and we should see the execution. So you see right there, it is executed one time, and you have seen it's succeeded and completed successfully. Now this is great. So you see that we created the package on the Visual Studio, and then we deployed to the Azure SSIS DB, and then now we are all good. We do not need any SSIS server or SQL server on premises, because our source is on the Azure, our destination is on the Azure, and our SSIS package is on the Azure. Now the last point is left, how we schedule them. There is no way we can schedule here because there is no SQL Server agent. So we are going to use Azure Data Factory to schedule our package. Now let's go to the Azure Data Factory here, and you have seen this lift and shift, and we are going to use that lift and shift Azure SSIS to use in the pipelines. So go to the right here, author, create pipeline, click right here, new pipeline. And now what I need to do, I do not need to have copy data or anything. I just need to call my execute package, right? So SSIS package, so it has a task called execute SSIS package. Now in the SSIS package right here, you see the settings. What we have to do, first of all, we have to tell where Azure SSIS IR name. So in our case, lift and shift IR, that's the name of our Azure SSIS IR. Second part, we are not doing any Windows authentication here. We are doing SQL authentication. So we are all good here. We don't have to do anything. Now package location, SSIS DB, package store and all that. So SSIS DB, and where exactly is the SSIS DB? I'm going to hit refresh. Now once you refresh, and already as lift and shift Azure SSIS is configured to use that server, so it knows that where it is. So we go to folder, and remember that we have created a folder SSIS packages, and we have that there. It's asking which project, lift and shift project, and which package name. So I'm saying PKG customer. So I don't have to do any environments and all that because I do not have created environments. But if you have created environments here such as prod, dev and all that, and you want to use some configuration from there, you can always use that. See right here, you can create your different environments, set the parameter values and everything, and then you can pass that. In my case, I'm keeping the thing simple, so I'm not using it. In your case, you have, if you want to run this package for dev, prod, QA, and pass different parameter value, you can use it. Logging, in my case, some basic is fine with me. You can do verbose or performance and all that to capture detailed login. And we are not really concerned about any other thing like customized and manual entries and everything. So we are all good here. SSIS parameters, if you have the parameters and all that, you can change the values here. If you have connection manager, such as in my case, I have a connection manager for my source DB and different destination DB and all that, so I can change if I want. But in my case, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to leave this as it is. Now, but you have the freedom to change it if you want. Now this is all good, and I'm going to go ahead and do one thing. I'm going to delete the records here, so you can see right there. If I will select, it has 3 records. Every time I say I need to execute, I say okay, it has 3 records, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to truncate. So now this table does not have any records. So what our goal is, we have created the pipeline, and now we can run the pipeline and it can execute the package. Our package has been completed successfully. If you see right there in the output, you are not going to see a lot of information here or any errors here. So what you have to do, you will be going back to your SSMS, and here you have SSIS packages, reports, and you will say standard, and you will say all execution. Once you do that, you're going to see all those execution reports here, and see right there, this is the second, this is the one it completed. So it's the 3rd execution right here. Okay, so let's go back and take a look on our data, and if we select that, there should be 3 records, and they are right there. Now still we did not schedule our pipeline. We have executed in debug mode and it works just fine. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a trigger and new trigger, and now what we can do, there are many ways or there are different types of trigger. In my case, it's going to be schedule trigger, and I'm going to say, okay, start at this UTC time, and start at that time, and what you want to do, reoccur every minute. Okay, and no specify end date. Maybe I can just do for a couple of days. Hit OK, 17 and 18, and I'm gonna hit start trigger on creation, and hit alright. No parameters is there, so hit OK. And now what we have to do, we have to publish. So pipeline has to be published and the trigger has to be published, and once the both item will be published, they will start working. So now our pipeline is published completed, and we are all good here, and you can go back here and go to monitoring right there and say pipeline runs, and then you can refresh, And now what's going to happen, after every minute this package is going to run by the pipeline. So you can see right there, the pipeline is running successful, and it ran like 338, and now what's going to happen on 339 is going to run for the next execution. So it's going to keep running, and if I go back here in the SQL Server and want to see destination records, and now I have 6 records. On the next run, it's going to add 3 more records. So this is how you will schedule your pipelines to run, and this is pretty good. I mean, you don't have to have use anything on on premises anymore, because now you have brought your SSIS packages onto the Azure. You have your sources, destination, and everything on the Azure, and you're all good here. So next execution started, and you can see right there it got completed as well. So you can go further in if you want to take a look. You can click here and it will show you the execution, but as I said, that it's not going to show you a lot more details here. And the way you are going to take a look here, you're going to go and see right there 3 records are loaded, and now you right click here, say execution reports standard all executions, and then you should be able to see the execution. So you can see right there it's executing every minute right there. So right there 38 and 39 and all that, right? Okay, so I hope you guys learned something out of this, and will be able to make use of this scenario. Thank you very much for watching, and please subscribe my channel if you guys like my effort, and I will see you guys in the next video.